Hey guys, just something real quick while I am trying to work on some other content for you. We're heading back to Hell's Reach soon, and I'm going to start doing the If the Empress Had a Text Device. Um, a few other things, still trying to figure out what to do about the Mandalorian, and I think that's going to boil down to the fact that I don't have the right programs. I'm using OBS, and I have figured out OBS doesn't let you edit the way I'm going to need to edit. Um, so what we're going to do in the meantime is I'm going to give you a little book review. Um, what I've got for you tonight is Cartwright's Cavaliers by Mark Wandry. Mr. Wandry is a four-time Dragon nominee for his work. He's written dozens of books, primarily in the military science fiction genre. Um, his first book in this series, the Four Horsemen series, is Cartwright's Cavaliers. And it's an interesting little book. I picked it up about a year and a half ago at Fantasy in Durham, and if you've paid attention to the background videos of my room, you'll notice there is a giant stack of books, two giant stacks of books on top of a bookcase to my immediate right, and I've slowly whittled those down. COVID quarantine has helped with that. I've knocked out about 12 books since all this has started, and the latest one is Cartwright's Cavaliers. I'll be honest, while it's an interesting little book, and I like the premise of it, it's not the greatest novel ever written. Um, the basic idea is that we are at some point in the future, not exactly determined how far in the future, but they do mention that the Cavaliers base is in Houston, and it's a former airport that they took over in 2049. And six generations of Cartwrights have commanded the Cavaliers in that time period. So we're at least, 120 to um, maybe 180, 240 years in the future, something in that neck of the woods, depending on how we measure a generation. And we've made contact with alien species, and what we found is that humanity's best export is our violence. All right. We are exceptionally good at killing things. And this is our most marketable commodity in outer space. It is apparently the cornerstone of Earth's economy during this time period. Uh, Mercenary outfits like Cartwright's Cavaliers were formed to go out and fight other species battles for them because apparently we're really good at killing. Um, 100 mercenary companies were formed. Four of them came back, including Cartwright's Cavaliers, from the initial excursion out into space. And these four became known as the Four Horsemen. And they basically are these huge multi-billion, if not multi-trillion dollar operations with everything from ground-based infantry to, as you can see from the cover, mechanized battle suits to warships. All right. The protagonist of the story is Jim Cartwright, who you see pictured there on the left. And the joke is it's sort of an in story joke at large. Jim Cartwright is not your stereotypical square jawed action hero. When the story opens, he is just preparing to graduate. He's 18, 19 years old. He's overweight. He is not athletic. His side of military training has leaned more towards the logistical side of it, um, strategy and tactics. Basically, he's going to be a rear echelon motherfucker. Uh, at least that's the way it's starting to look like. That was my first thought was when reading the book. He is thrown into chaos, however, when his mother uh, basically sells the Cavaliers out from under him, liquidates all their assets, apparently has been embezzling from the company since Jim's father died, the commander of the Cavaliers. So this kid who should have inherited a gigantic military force worth millions loses everything. He goes from basically the lap of luxury to living in a shithole apartment, doing programming jobs and living off frozen pizza. All of the Cavaliers' assets are liquidated and bought up and sold at auction, and even still, apparently, there's still debts to be paid off from his mother's embezzling and mismanagement of the company. She disappears entirely. I don't want to give too much away, but through a loophole, and it would seem there and a untouchable, squared away nest egg of equipment. Jim and a group of old veterans from the Cavaliers are able to reestablish the Cavaliers in a much smaller scale, and that's the primary gist of the story. Jim begins the rebuilding of Cartwright's Cavaliers, and proving himself as not just some fat computer nerd, but an actual capable military commander. A running joke, however, through the entire series is that every suit Jim gets in, every mech suit that Jim gets in, he wrecks. He gets the job done, but that suit does not come home. There is an overarching story being seated in the first book, and it centers around an ancient menace being resurrected by a group of aliens that want to basically achieve military and economic dominance of this particular little arm of the galaxy. And I'm assuming this is going to play out in future books. Mr. Wandry is not the only author who plays in this particular little universe. There are apparently dozens of Four Horsemen books written by multiple authors. These books have come out pretty quickly. You can see that's 2017, and in just 3 years, you've got dozens of books. What I like about the book, it's a different spin on the protagonist. Again, as I said, Jim is not your AJ squared away action hero. He is a nerd. He struggles with his weight. He struggles with his self-perception, living up to the ideals of the family, living in the shadow of his father, dealing with the doubt of his own men, such things as this. You'll notice the little tree cat looking critter that he's got sitting on his shoulder there. That is Splunk. She is a fae, and there's way more to her than meets the eye. But again, I'm not going to spoil anything. What my issues with the book, it's not exactly War and Peace. It's by no means the worst thing I've ever read, but it's also not the best. And I hate to even say that because I did enjoy the book. I thoroughly and completely enjoyed the book. Don't misunderstand me on that regard. But there was some, I guess we'll call it wish fulfillment going on, because again, you look at Jim and he's your stereotypical nerd. He's one of us. And I'm wondering if there's some wish fulfillment going on here. Nerdy kid makes good. Elon Musk or Steve Jobs with machine guns and mech suits. That kind of a thing. By and large, it is a good book. I would tell you that it's worth a read. I'm definitely going to look forward to the other books and see what happens with those, but it's going to be a while before I get back to this particular little universe because, again, giant stacks of books that already need to be read. If I'm giving it a grade, I'm giving it 3.5 stars out of 5. It's a good book. It's not a great book. Check it out for yourself and see what you think. All right? I will get back with you guys later. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think. The channel is growing. To my incredible surprise, the channel is growing by leaps and bounds. So we have many new users. We're getting a lot of likes. And I appreciate your guys' support. Just tell me what you want me to do, and if I can do it, I'll see it done. All right? Have a good night, guys.